The Texas housing market is slowing down big time. So for example, there's approximately 86% more houses listed for sale in the state of Texas versus 1 year ago. That's an 86% increase of housing inventory on a year-over-year basis. On top of that, home prices have declined by about 10% since July of this year. So in today's video, I'm going to explain what's happening right now in the Texas housing market at the statewide level, but I'm also going to be sharing what's happening right now in Austin, Texas, Houston, as well as Dallas. I have a lot to share in today's video, so let's go ahead and dive right in and talk about what we're seeing right now at the statewide level according to altosresearch.com. So let's have a look at asking prices statewide in the state of Texas. So the asking price, or the median asking price in the state of Texas right now, at least for the 7 days ended December 23rd, is $369,000. Back in mid-July, the median asking price was $409,000. Therefore, asking prices in the state of Texas as a whole have declined by 10% since mid-July of this year. When you compare this to the national averages, though, on a national level, home prices have decreased, or asking prices have decreased by about 9% during that same time frame. But in Texas, asking prices have declined by about 10%. I also want to talk about days in the market because houses are taking longer to sell right now compared to previous years. So let's have a look at the median days in the market. Days in the market right now is approximately 70 days statewide in the state of Texas. 1 year ago, days in the market was approximately 56 days. This means it's taken about 14 days longer to sell a house in the state of Texas versus 1 year ago, or about 2 weeks. Also at 70 days right now, days in the market at 70 days, this is actually higher compared to 2020, because back in 2020, or actually 2020 this time, the days in the market was approximately 63 days. And pre-COVID, back in January of 2020, days in the market was approximately 84 days. So even though it's taking longer to sell a house compared to the same time frame in 2021 as well as 2020, days in the market is actually a little bit less than January of 2020, when days in the market was 84 days. Now again, days in the market is approximately 70 days. One thing you definitely guys should be aware of though is that look at this trajectory this year, because days in the market at 70 days right now, days in the market has more or less doubled since August 19th of this year, because days in the market at that time was approximately 35 days. So days in the market has more or less doubled since mid-August of this year. Let's also talk about housing inventory for the state of Texas. The total number of houses for sale in the state of Texas, according to altosresearch.com. And that is 67,000 houses for sale. 1 year ago, there was approximately 36,000 houses for sale. And by my math, that's an 86% increase of housing inventory compared to 1 year ago. 86%. And by the way, the nation's averages for inventory gains compared to 1 year ago is actually 64%. So our gains we're seeing right now in the state of Texas of 86% is well above the nationwide averages. Also for the Texas housing market, let's have a look at price reductions, because the share of price drops in the state of Texas is at 43.5%. And by the way, the national average is at 40% right now. So slightly above the nation's average at 43.5% right now in the state of Texas. 1 year ago, the share of price drops was only 25%. Back in December 2020, the share of price reductions was 25%. And before that, pre-COVID, the share of price drops was approximately 31%. And again, the share right now is approximately 43.5%. In other words, the share of price reductions right now compared to previous years during the same time frame is at least a 3-year high. Okay, let's change gears and talk about what's happening right now in Austin, Texas, and then we'll talk about Houston and then Dallas, Texas as well. And this is based on data from Redfin, by the way. So let's have a look at new listings in Austin, Texas. So new listings in Austin, Texas are declining by 27% on a year-over-year basis. New listings down 27% compared to the same time frame 1 year ago. Let's have a look at pending home sales. And pendings in Austin, Texas have declined by 57% compared to the same time period in 2021. A huge decrease of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers, down by 57%. I'm guessing because pendings have been decreasing big time, I'm guessing closed home sales are decreasing big time as well. Yep. And look at that, down by 35.7% compared to 2021. Huge decrease of contracts being signed, as well as closed home sales in Austin, Texas. Let's also have a look at price reductions in Austin, Texas, according to altosresearch.com. The share of price reductions right now is at 63%. And by the way, the nation's average is at 40%. So the share of price reductions right now is well above the nation's averages at 40%. 63% right now. 1 year ago, the share of price drops in Austin, Texas was approximately 33%. Back in 2020, the share of price drops was approximately 27%. And back in January 2020, the share was about 35%. So the share right now at 63% is at least a 3-year high during that same time frame. Let's also have a look at home prices according to Redfin as well. Here's the median sold price in Austin, Texas. The black line's 2020, here's 2021, the red line's 2020, the blue line's 2019. I actually really like sharing this website because they actually share 2019, which is obviously pre-COVID. So let's have a look at Austin, Texas. Look at this. The median sold price in Austin, Texas is down by 2% compared to the same time frame in 2021, down by 2%. That's not really the biggest takeaway though, because look at this. The median sold price right now in Austin, Texas is at $462,000. Again, that's $462,000. Back in May of this year, the median sold price was approximately $560,000. This means the median sold price in Austin, Texas has decreased 19% since May of this year. This is pretty eye-opening because on a national level, home prices have decreased by about 9% since May of this year. That's based on the median sold price according to Redfin here. But in Austin, Texas, home prices have declined by 19%. There's two more things I want to mention regarding home prices in Austin, Texas. Because going back to 2019, from May through the end of December in 2019, home prices decreased by 4%. Whereas this year, they declined by 19%. Here's something else you guys should be aware of as well, because this year, again, down by 2% on a year-over-year basis. Last year, though, at this time, home prices increased by 29% compared to the same time frame in 2020. Now we're down 2%. Also in 2020, compared to 2019, home prices, whenever I say home prices, I mean the median sold price. Home prices increased by 16%. Also in 2019, compared to 2018, home prices increased by 4%. One last thing I want to mention regarding home prices in Austin, Texas is that even though prices have declined by about 19% since May of this year, when looking at home prices right now versus the same time frame in 2019, home prices are up by about 46%. Okay, let's also have a look at days in the market, or how fast or how slow houses are selling in Austin, Texas. So days in the market right now is about 66 days. This means on average, houses are selling for about 32 days longer compared to 1 year ago. So it's taking approximately 32 days longer to sell a house in Austin, Texas versus 1 year ago. Let's also have a look at the average sale price to final list price ratio in Austin, Texas. That ratio is approximately 96%, meaning houses on average selling for about 4% below the seller's final list price. 1 year ago, the ratio was about 101%, meaning houses on average selling for about 1% over asking. Also look at this, because in the spring months in 2022, houses were selling for about 6% over. Also in 2021, look at that. Houses selling for nearly 10% over asking on average. Now they're selling for about 4% below. Let's also have a look at what's happening right now in the Houston, Texas housing market, and talk about home prices, housing inventory, and of course, much, much more. So new listings in Houston, Texas are down about 14.9% on a year-over-year basis. A decrease of new listings, which is what we're seeing on a national level as well. A decrease of people listing their houses for sale. And pending home sales in Houston, Texas are down a whopping 38% on a year-over-year basis, well below 2021 and more or less on par with 2019's levels. This is quite remarkable because active listing inventory has been increasing, as you can see right here. Inventory is up by 35% on a year-over-year basis. So we're seeing this huge decrease of home buying demand because pending home sales are tanking and active listings are still up compared to 1 year ago, up by about 35%. Let's also have a look at homes sold or closed home sales. I'm guessing those have been decreasing as well. And closed home sales are down 32% on a year-over-year basis in Houston, Texas. And let's have a look at the share of price reductions according to Altos in Houston, Texas. And that is approximately 45% right now. 1 year ago, it was about 35%. And back in 2020 at this time, it was about 38%. And pre-COVID, back in January 2020, the share was about 40%. So the share of price drops right now at 45% is at least a 3-year high in Houston, Texas. I also want to share what's happening right now regarding home sold prices in Houston, Texas. This is the median sold price again. So the median sold price in Houston, Texas has increased by 5% on a yearly basis here. Home prices at $330,000. Back in May of this year, though, the median sold price was $353,000. This means by my math that home prices have declined by 6.5% since May of this year. So home prices in Houston, Texas have declined by about 6.5% since May of this year versus a 19% decrease in Austin, Texas. Also, something else you guys should be aware of when looking at trends in Houston, Texas is that when looking at the same time frame in 2019, home prices went from $247,000 back in more or less May of 2019 to approximately $249,000. This means home prices were more or less flat from May of 2019 through December 2019, whereas this year they declined by 6.5%. And again, compared to 1 year ago, home sold prices are up by 5% on a yearly basis. Going back to 2021 this time, home prices increased by 17%. Also back in 2020, the median sold price increased by 7%. And in 2019, increasing by 5%. Let's also have a look at how fast or how slow houses are selling in Houston, Texas. This is days on the market is approximately 39 days. This means it's taking approximately 21 days longer to sell a house in Houston, Texas versus 1 year ago. Let's also have a look at the average sale price to list price ratio in Houston, Texas. And that ratio is on par with 2019 at approximately 97%, meaning houses on average selling for about 3% below asking. Compare this to 2021 this time, houses were selling for about 1% below. Also compare this to the spring months this year, houses on average were selling for about 1% over asking. Now again, they're selling for about 3% below. All right, so change gears again. Let's talk about what's happening right now in the Dallas housing market. So new listings in Dallas, Texas are down by 17.7% on a year-over-year basis here. New listings down by 17%. Let's have a look at pending home sales. That's right, for whatever reason in Dallas, Texas, they don't provide the total number of pending home sales. However, here's what they do provide though. And these are listing updates going from a house that's listed for sale into a pending home sale status. In other words, when the home seller accepts an offer from a home buyer. So pending home sales are down 28.8% on a year-over-year basis, also below 2019's levels as well. Let's also have a look at housing inventory in Dallas, Texas. And that's active listings are up by 65% compared to 2021. That's pretty remarkable. Still below 2019's levels, but still at 65% increase compared to 2021. That's pretty remarkable. Let's also have a look at homes that actually have sold or closed home sales. And that has decreased by 27.9% compared to the same time frame in 2021. So closed home sales down by about 28%. Let's also have a look at the share of price reductions in Dallas, Texas, according to Altos. And that is at 48.8%. So more or less 49%, which is above the nation's average at 40% right now. Also at 49%, this is above last year's levels at 37%. And also above 2020 this time at 43%. And going back to pre-COVID, back in January 3rd of 2020, the share of price reductions was approximately 43%. So just like these other metros here, the share of price reductions is at least a 3-year high. Let's also have a look at what's happening right now regarding the median sold price in Dallas, Texas. Because home prices have increased by 6% on a year-over-year basis, the median sold price is at $404,000. $404,000 right now. Compare this to May of this year, the median sold price was $463,000. This means the median sold price has decreased by about 13% since May of this year. So the median sold price has decreased by about 13% when looking at home prices right now versus May of this year in Dallas, Texas. Looking at stats in 2019, home prices were more or less flat because they went from $294,000 as of the end of December of 2019, $294,000. And back in May of 2019, the median sold price was approximately $301,000. So the only decrease from $301,000 down to about $294,000 back in 2019. Also have a look at this because the gains right now we're seeing at 6% is well below the levels we saw in 2021, because this time in 2021, home prices increased by 18% on a year-over-year basis. Also in 2020, home prices increased by 10%. And back in 2019, we saw gains of 4%. I also want to share what's happening right now with days on the market, how fast or how slow houses are selling in Dallas, Texas. So days on the market right now is approximately 43 days. This means it's taking approximately 22 days longer to sell a house right now versus 1 year ago. So days on the market right now at approximately 43 days. At this same time frame in 2021, it was only taking about 20 days to sell a house. Now it's taking approximately 43 days. Let's also have a look at the average sale price to final list price ratio in Dallas, Texas, which is more or less on par with 2019, just like Houston, Texas. So the ratio there is approximately 98%, meaning houses on average selling for about 2% below asking. And back in 2021, this time, houses were selling for about 1% or nearly 2% over asking. Also have a look at this because during the spring months this year, the average was 6% over. Houses selling for about 6% over the seller's asking price. Now again, they're selling for about 3% below the seller's asking price. And with that said, please comment below your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Of course, I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.